Welcome to the second Group Finance Knowledge Sharing session. Today we're going to continue with Excel. Now please note that there is a workbook that accompanies this video for you to work on the examples as we go along. So what topics are we going to cover today? We're going to cover formulas, named ranges, and formula auditing. So first up is formulas and if error. Now as you can see here, we've got a VLOOKUP and we've got an error. Because I've tried to VLOOKUP the product Coke in our product subcategories. Of course Coke doesn't exist. But I don't want it to show NA, I would like it to show some text that says wrong product instead. So Excel has a function called if error that we can build around the VLOOKUP. So let's look at the video. So we're going to put in our VLOOKUP. We're going to look up columns A and B, looking for non-cola CSDs. And we're going to drag down, you see we'll find cordial, but Coke will give us an error. So now I'd like to change that to wrong product. So we insert the if error around the VLOOKUP, put in the text that I would like to show in its place, and then we have wrong product. So now we drag that up, we get our original correct answers, and we have wrong product when we get an error. So now it's your turn on tab 1 of the accompanying workbook to try that example and learn by doing. So next up is a very powerful set of formulas. So we've got VLOOKUP to the left and we've also got a two-way lookup. So it involves putting index and match together. But first, let's look at index and match separately and how they work. So here we've got index. This is essentially, I'm going to say in column A, give me the fourth value, which is 200. So put in the data set 4, and I've got 200. So now we have match, and match is going to give us, is like, where is my value in the list of values? So I'm looking for non-cola CSDs in column B, and it's going to say it's in the 4th position. So essentially what we're going to do as we move on is I'm going to use match to feed the index. So as you can see in explaining this, we use index, which is column, what do I want to return? And then we've got match, my lookup value, and the column I want to return against. So let's look at the video of how this works. So you've got index. In column A, we want to match that to where non-cola CSDs is in column B. And this is how we VLOOKUP from the left. So obviously we want an exact match, exactly like a VLOOKUP. And there we have it. We've got 200 for non-cola CSDs, how to VLOOKUP from the left. So now in tab 3 in the workbook, it's your turn to do a VLOOKUP from the left. So absolute formulas. This is how to make a formula static in looking up a data set. So quite often when you pull down a formula, as we'll see in the video, we'll lose the data set we are looking up against because everything in Excel moves down as you drag down. See here we're going to get some NAs. So when I highlight it, see my data set has moved down to the bottom, can no longer find it. So you want to go into the formula, we highlight the data sets we're looking up, press F4, it puts dollar signs around it, and this is going to make the data sets static. So now we'll drag down, and we see the NAs will go away. We'll go into the bottom formula here, and we'll see our data set is still where it was when we did it in F2. So now it's your turn on tab 4 of the workbook to try absoluting the formula. Named ranges. As you see with the formula that we were just using, the index and match, if somebody else opens your formula and sees A2 to A18, well what is it, right? You know it's the sales data, and we know B2 to B18 is the product list, but wouldn't it be great in Excel if it said sales instead of A2 to A18? But with named ranges, that's more than possible. So we'll go into our original formula, and you see it's A2 to A18. Now we want to go to sales, the data we want to look up. We go to the name manager, which is in the formulas tab. We click new, put in the name sales, and we've got the range that we want that to refer to. Now we're going to do it again, and this time for product. And the nice thing about name ranges is it automatically absolute values your formulas. So we've got sales and products as named ranges in the data that we want to look up. So before we use these in a formula, it's your turn to put in the two named ranges in your workbook on tab 5. So now we're going to use our named ranges in our index and match formula. So we go index, and if we start typing sales, it automatically appears like a function. We go match. What do we want to look up? Then we type products, exact match as always. And there you have it. You have a much easier to read formula than we previously had, because it makes sense when you see sales and products. You drag down, and the data set in the name ranges is automatically absolute value. So you know you're only going to get the data that you want. So now it's your turn on tab 5 of the workbook to try name ranges in a formula. So the name range manager, bit long-winded, right? As with everything in Excel, there's a quicker way. So we're going to do it name range from selection. So we're going to highlight columns A to D in our data down to 18. We're going to click create from selection. Use the top row as the names. And there we have it. We'll see in the name ranges, we've now got sales 1 to 4 done automatically. So now on tab 6, it's your turn to try name ranges by selection. But wait, there's more. There's a quicker way to do named ranges, an easier way, right? So in the go-to box, you see we have a drop down and we've got the sales ranges that we tried for already. But now we're going to put sales 5 in here, so we're just going to type it straight in and it appears. Then we've got sales 6, but here's the one thing with it, right? You leave a space between sales and 6, you're going to get an error. You can't leave any spaces in your named range. So we'll try again, we'll say sales underscore 6, and it's going to accept it. So drop down, we've got sales 1, 5, 6. So we've got them all, and that's the quick and easy way to put name ranges into Excel. Side tip as well with the go-to box. If you type cell K5 into the go-to box, Excel will take you there. So it's very good for taking you around a big spreadsheet. So now on tab 6, it's your turn to use the go-to box to make some named ranges. So far our named ranges have been static. They've been automatically absoluted, so they're not going to change. But what if you want a dynamic name range? What if you know your data set is going to grow down every day and you want it to expand? There's a way to do this with dynamic name ranges. See here, I'm going to sum a sales range 8, and you can see what it's summing. I add things in the bottom. The sum range doesn't change because it's static. But now we're going to go into Name Manager and we're going to make it dynamic. So we're going to do this by combining two formulas, the offset and the count A formula. What essentially is happening here is offset. You can give it coordinates to take things in Excel, and count A. What count A does, it counts the continuous cells in a row. And that's what we're doing. Give me the continuous cells in column A. As you see, I put in some extra numbers, and 30, it added 20 and 40. But it won't add non-continuous ranges. So as you see, it's your turn on tab 7. And just have a play when you're finished of adding in some data, leaving a gap, and then filling that gap, and you'll see your sum change. Two-way lookups, so the best use of index and match, and it gets a little more complicated. So previously with index, we fed it one coordinate would match. But now what we're going to do, we're going to feed it two separate coordinates with two match formulas into the one index formula. So as you can see here, I've got some products and I've got some monthly sales. So in the bottom I want to select the product and I want to select the month and I want it to return the sales for the month. So this is really good for doing some quick and dirty analysis. So let's see how this works. So firstly, we're going to do some name ranges and we're going to do name range for the sales data that we want to look up. Then we're going to look at the product. We're going to have the product selection name range. We have the month that we want to select. Now here is the product list that we want to look up. So another name range for that. So in total we've got 5 name ranges for this formula. Now we're going to put the months. Then we're going to come down and put in our index formula. So index the sales data. That's what we want to look up. We want to match it to the product selection against the product list. And for the next coordinate, we want to match the month list, or the month selection, against the month list. So as you can see, the answer is 19 for emerging categories in Jan. Let's just have a play with that to have another look. So fruit drinks in Jan is 10. Change that to July, and you see 13 where you see how we can two-way look up a data set of products and months. So now it's your turn on tab 8. But remember, you need to put in 5 name ranges into your workbook before you put in the formula. So auditing formulas. So you receive a workbook that isn't yours, and you want to know a total figure. What's driving this figure? Where are these figures coming from? So there's a couple of tools in Excel where you can trace what's feeding a formula. So we see here now we've got trace precedence. So in yellow, I want to see what numbers and what formulas are feeding into this total. So if you select the cell you want to analyze and press trace precedence on the formula tab, you see you put some blue lines, press it again, you'll get the next layer down. So that's essentially giving us 2 layers of numbers feeding in. Additionally, it's saying there's numbers on another page. We click that and it's brought me to the page that's actually feeding my totals. So that's actually the 3rd layer down. As quickly as we added them, we can remove them. Now we've got trace dependence. So this is working the other way. I've got a number and I want to know what cells are depending on that number. So this is your turn in tab 11 to select cell dependence and do it up to 3 times to see the 3 layers of dependence on cell L10. Now let's look at the solution for trace dependence. So you can see in yellow we select our cell, we go up, trace dependence 1 level, press it again, 2nd level. Press it again, we've got 3 levels of dependent cells for C11. Now if you double click on the blue arrow, it'll actually take you to the cell that it's dependent on. So that's really good for a large workbook. And again, we can remove the arrows as quick as we added them. And that's trace dependence. So show formulas. So you get a spreadsheet and you're looking at it and you want to know what's a constant, what's a formula, what's linked to another page. But if you press the show formula buttons, it will show you what's behind each of the cells on your workbook. So it's pretty simple, it's just knowing what button to press. So now you guys can have a go on tab 12, just select show formula, select it again, and it's hidden as easily as it was unveiled. So you receive a spreadsheet and you want to know if there's errors in it or if there's inconsistencies. Well, there's a way to do that in Excel. As you can see here in the 1.25 CSDs, it's not a consistent formula. Now, without looking behind the formula, you don't actually know. But of course, Excel will tell you. So if you're on a page and you select error checking, it will bring up an error checking screen. So it's making a suggestion here that we copy the formula from the left to keep the consistency. So we do that and it replaces it. Move down to a sum on the left and it's saying copy from above to keep consistent. And now it said the error check is complete for the entire sheet. So Excel will recommend things who aren't consistent. It won't pick up constants though, that should be sums. So now it's your turn on tab 13 to select error checking and to follow through the steps to replace your formulas. So that's the end of our second knowledge sharing session where we've covered formulas, name ranges and formula auditing. In the next session what we're going to look at pivot tables, and then from there we'll look at data visualization and charts, VBA macros, and then on to other things outside Excel like PowerPoint, presentation skills and SAP. Now if there's anything you guys would like to learn, please contact me. There's a few people you can contact. You can contact my stunt double Deepa or my master of lighting Jess. Guys, we'll see you for our third session on pivot tables in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much.